All right, the first problem we have here, it says the cotangent of theta is negative 3 over 10, cosine of theta is less than 0, and they ask me to find the secant of theta. So I know cotangent is x over y, so, and I know that cosine of theta is less than 0. So if cosine of theta is less than 0, that means x's are negative, so it has to be in the left hemisphere of the circle. If cotangent is negative in the second and in the fourth quadrants, so it must be then that it happens in the second quadrant where x is negative and y's are positive. So I already can tell then that x must be negative 3 and y is positive 10. They ask me to find secant, and I think to find secant I'm going to need to know what r is equal to. So to start with then, I do know that x squared plus y squared is equal to r squared, or negative 3 squared plus 10 squared is equal to r squared, or 9 plus 100 equal to r squared. So r comes out to be square root of 109. Okay, the radius is always positive, so you don't have to be concerned if it's positive or negative. They ask me to find secant of theta. And remember, secant is reciprocal of cosine, so it's r over x. So secant of theta will be square root of 109 divided by x, which is negative 3. So it's going to be negative square root of 109 over 3. Now, it doesn't really matter exactly where you put the negative sign. Probably on your test they're going to write it more like this, like they just put it out in front. Even though we know it goes with the negative 3, it doesn't really matter when you write the fraction exactly where you put it. Alright, so this would be our final answer. It doesn't matter, they're not going to put both of these with the negative sign in different places. Alright, let's look at our next problem here. It says sine of theta is negative 2 over 9, tangent of theta is less than 0, and they ask me to find the cosine of theta. So if tangent of theta is less than 0, that means tangent's negative, and if it's negative, it either has to be in the second quadrant or it has to be in the fourth quadrant. They told me to start with that sine, which is y over r, is negative 2 over 9. Well, I know that y's are positive in the second quadrant, so theta must end up being it must be in the fourth quadrant here, where x's are positive and y's are negative. So things that I know, I don't know what x is, but I know y is equal to negative 2 because it's y over r, and I know r is equal to positive 9. So I need to figure out what x is. So I do know that x squared plus y squared is equal to r squared, or x squared plus negative 2 squared is equal to 9 squared, or x squared plus 4 is equal to 81, or x squared is 81 minus 4, which is what, 77? I believe so. So we'll say x is plus or minus square root of 77. I know that x is positive because it is in the fourth quadrant, so I'm going to say go ahead and make the leap and say it's positive square root of 77. They ask me to find cosine of theta, which is, remember, x over r. So I would say the answer is going to be square root of 77 over r, which is 9. So square root of 77 over 9. There we go, another XYR problem down. Not really that hard.